Normally on these cold opens, I use the minute or so that I have to set up what we're going to talk about here on the podcast today. But today's cold open is a little bit different. Well, actually, it's a lot different. It's a very special cold open that's very near and dear to all of us here, not only at Always Pneumatic, Never Static, but at Bulk and Spur at large. There's a man that is instrumental in this entire thing that we've all been given this opportunity to work for this great company in one capacity or another, and that man is Ron DeWolf. Of course, you guys, if you didn't get to meet him, I know that those of you that did would tell so many great stories about the person, the leader that Ron DeWolf was. And on May 28th, which is around the time that this episode will release, we here at Always Pneumatic, Never Static, and everyone at Bulk and Spur would like to wish Ron DeWolf a very happy, heavenly birthday and say thank you for this fantastic company that you've built that we all get the opportunity to work for. It is such a fantastic group of people, and it comes through every single time that we have employees for Bulk and Spur on this podcast. And you're going to see it again in the podcast episode that we are bringing you today. But this was a very important thing that we wanted to do here. So from everyone under the umbrella of Bulk and Spur, including us here at Always Pneumatic, Never Static, Ron, happy heavenly birthday, and thank you so much for all these opportunities.
You are listening to Always Pneumatic, Never Static, the totally pressurized podcast brought to you by Bulk Transit, where we keep the lines clear, the tanks empty, and the conversation anything but dry. Whether you're running powder, pellets, or anything in between, pull up a seat, crack the windows, and let's hit it.
How's it going out there, Bulk and Spur? Welcome into Always Pneumatic, Never Static. Thank you so much for being here for our episode this week. As always, we appreciate every single one of you that clicked download. Your listens are the reason that we do this, so we are committed to keeping you entertained and informed out there on the road as you deliver with those beautiful pneumatic trailers and that awesome equipment. And I do say that for a very poignant reason today. But first, let's get to some homework before I tell you why that reason is so poignant. Podcast.bulktransit.com is the website. Now, I want to drive this point home to you guys today because it's been a little while since I've heard from any of you. There is a link up on that website, once again, podcast.bulktransit.com, that will send an email directly to me. Directly? I don't know why I went ahead and just changed that word, but directly to me. It'll come right to my pocket. I carry my phone with me everywhere, and that's where I check my emails. So if you want to be on this show, if you want to come on and talk about something that you see every day, something that is a part of the job, I'm always open for suggestion. And you can ask some of your other drivers out there. We have turned multiple ideas that have been emailed to us into episodes already, and we will continue to do that. If you work for Bulk or Spur, we want to talk to you if you want to talk to us. So please utilize that link on the website, which once again, you got to bookmark it, podcast.bulktransit.com. Send me a message and we'll get you on the show. We will get your idea turned into an episode. It doesn't matter. Hey, you can just shoot me a message and ask me how my day is too. I'll definitely start up a conversation with you via email. So make sure to head on over there, bookmark the website, because that's not only a place where you can get in touch with me. That is a place where you can go to find every single episode we've ever produced, all of the information about what we're talking about and who joined us on that episode. And on top of that, the quizzes that you can take that'll make sure that you're paying attention out here on the road. And of course, those quizzes are a conduit to win some prizes sometime later on in the year. We will tell you later on in the year at a later episode that, hey, make sure you take the quiz for this one, because that is your entry to get into our giveaway. And we've already given away 2 really great cooling vests, and I'm sure that those guys are putting those to use right now as the weather starts to get warmer here. So podcast.bulktransit.com is your website. Make sure to throw a bookmark on that thing and visit it once a week for a new hour plus of content from us here at Always Pneumatic, Never Static. I really feel like we're developing a lot of momentum with this podcast right now, and today's interview segment is going to be proof of that. This is one of the most special episodes to me, if I may be so self-indulgent, because this episode is one where we might get one of these a year, and you'll hear that come through later on because of how busy these guys are. But today is our roundtable with the shop. I'm so excited. Applause, party horns. Oh, that was the wrong button, but that's my loser buzzer. I did not mean to play that. That's the Price is Right. You got it wrong button. It's near and dear to all of our hearts, right? We all spent a sick day at home in elementary school watching Bob Barker and The Price is Right. So I had to have that button, but excuse my oversized fingers from hitting it. It's all party horns and applause today because we get to talk to not one, not two, but 5 guys that are involved in the shop, or the shops at large, I should say, in Bulk and Spur. And these episodes are not easy to get, okay? And it's at no fault whatsoever to the guys in the shop. None of them. Because the reason they're so hard to get is because they are so busy and they work at such a high level that they just can't pull away for an hour just to wag their chin at me very often. And today we're very lucky to have 5 guys in here, including Brad DeWolf, kind of the leader of the pack here. And listen, I understand sometimes podcasting isn't the thing that you guys signed up to do here. So even when you're a little bit standoffish about coming on and you agree to do it, we greatly appreciate it. And that's what we have here today. We've got guys that are busy. They're literally keeping you guys safe out there on the road, you drivers, and they're doing the best job that they can to keep the equipment up to date. We've had a lot of drivers on this show talk to us about how they love the equipment at Bulk and they love their job at Bulk. Well, let me tell you something. After about 4 years of making podcasts for truck drivers and for trucking fleets, I can tell you that is not always par for the course across the industry. If drivers have a problem with the equipment, they are very vocal about it. And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to bring some people in here from the shop to talk to us about issues that they're seeing and how drivers can help prevent those. And also just how you can make everybody's day a little bit better. That's a theme that will come through in this interview. And I can't thank these guys enough. I had them for almost an hour, which is really big when you think about the amount of work that they can get done on any given project in that amount of time. So without further ado, I want to welcome our shop guys in here. We've got guys from 3 different terminals today, and we're going to cover a lot of info. So if you're a driver, you're listening to this right now, and you're wondering, man, I wonder if there's anything I could be doing that would help the shop out, make their day a little bit better. This is your episode. These guys are going to give you a lot of really great information about the things that they see from their perspective. And as you might imagine, it's a lot different than your perspective out there on the road. So let's bring these guys in here and do our roundtable with the shop from Bulk and Spur. You know, one of my very favorite types of episodes to make when I'm making podcasts for trucking fleets is the episode when we finally get to talk to the shop. And that can be anybody from the shop. Now, obviously, we've already had Brad in here just shortly, but this is something that we don't get to do that often because the shop is a very, very busy part of the business. But today, we're very fortunate to have not 1, not 2, but 5 members covering 3 different terminals for Bulk and Spur. And I'm very excited to welcome these guys in here today to talk shop with me, quite literally. So let's welcome first in Brad DeWolf. Brad, thank you so much for being here today, my friend. You kind of organized this whole thing for me, and I greatly appreciate the effort, man, because you came through.
Oh, you're welcome, Marcus. I'm really trying to save me from having to talk so much. So I wanted to get as many people on the podcast as possible. So, you originally said 4, so I got at least 5.
You did, man, and I really appreciate it. And I will also thank you for organizing the lunch that we got to have with the guys from the shop at the Plain City Terminal when we were out there. I've referenced it multiple times on this podcast. We got a bunch of people in the room. We all got filled up on some awesome barbecue, and it was one of the most entertaining hours that I spent at the Plain City Terminal. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, unfiltered shop discussions can be pretty entertaining sometimes. But we'll try not to go there today on this podcast too much. We don't want to go over the line.
All right, I hear you. Well, let's welcome some of these other guys in here. In fact, let's welcome them all in here. First off, joining us also out there at the Plain City Terminal, we got Jeff Horsley on the line. Jeff, thanks for being here.
No problem.
Now, Jeff, how long have you been working out there at the Plain City Terminal?
About 37 years.
Oh, only 37 years, huh?
Yeah.
Well, welcome in, man. You told me when we were talking, you said, well, Brad's going to probably make me do it, but we appreciate you being here, man. We really do. I promise I'll take it easy on you today, all right?
I hope so.
Thanks for being here, Jeff.
No problem.
Next up, let's welcome from the Saginaw Terminal, Jeremy Hall. Jeremy, welcome, my friend. Thanks for being here.
No problem.
Now, Jeremy, how long have you been out there at the Saginaw Terminal in the shop?
I've been with the Saginaw Terminal just a little over a year and a half now.
And how do you like it out there?
It has its ups and downs, but we make do with what we got.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think you just personified every job that you could have. It's got its ups and downs. We understand that very well. Thanks for being here, Jeremy. We appreciate the time. Coming up next here, we've got a couple of guys from the Foster Terminal. Let's welcome first Junior Taylor to the show. Junior, thank you for being here, my friend.
Not a problem.
And how long for you on board out there at the Foster Terminal shop?
18.
18 years?
18 years.
Wow, we got a couple of long-timers here with us so far today. I don't think anybody's probably going to beat Brad, but, 37 and 18 is a pretty good chunk, man. How do you like it out there at the Foster Terminal, Junior?
Credit for everything, man. It's a good place to work.
Amen to that, man. Thank you for being here, Junior. Next up, also from the Foster Terminal, and our final guest today, we've got Shawn Earlywine on the show. Shawn, thanks for the time, man. How you doing out there?
Hey, I'm good, man.
Okay. No, I say it's a privilege to work here. I've been here for 16 years, August the 23rd.
That's wild. So just on the phone here, not including Brad's time, we've got something like 30 plus years of experience just with the guys that are outside of Brad. And Brad, I'll ask you for your time too. How long's it been since you first put on the shoes and went to work at Bulk and Spur for Dad?
I'm not going to date myself, but I was not able to drive, and I didn't really know how to drive the mower that he had me running. So I was about 12. It's been close to 40. But actually,
that's amazing.
Jeff's got more seniority in me because I quit and came back. So Jeff's the longest tenured guy on this call.
Okay, Jeff. Well, do you ever flex that muscle over Brad, Jeff? Does he ever get lippy with you?
No, I don't use it. No, sure don't.
Well, better man than I am. Better man than I am for sure, fellas. Well, listen, I really appreciate you guys' time here. I want to jump right in because one of the reasons we don't get to talk to the shop guys often, as I said, is because you guys are busy, and rightfully so. Without you guys, this company doesn't move forward. We got to keep these trucks safe and on the road. So I'm going to ask a question here and kind of go around the room and let you guys all give your take on it. And I think the first thing that I want to ask, and Brad, I'm going to start right off the top here with you. What is something that drivers probably don't realize about the shop side of the business from your perspective, Brad?
Ooh, boy, I have to think about this one for a minute, Marcus. I guess they probably don't take into account how much of a distraction it is sometimes for you to walk up and just start a conversation with a mechanic or ask him to do even the smallest task. And the reason why I say that is because the mechanics are in the middle of a job And what you don't want them to do is quit doing something when they're in the middle of it, because then they forget, you forget to tighten this up or torque that bolt or check that, So what I think the biggest thing we want to make sure is we don't distract the mechanics from finishing important safety tasks before proceeding to help whatever their need is.
I totally understand that. I know you guys probably know this about me, but I'll give you a peek behind the curtain. I'm a bit chatty. And boy, can I get distracted very easily. I imagine doing the things that the mechanics have to do is a very detail-oriented job, and somebody coming up, tapping on your shoulder, asking you what you thought about the most recent college football game can be a real hindrance, is what you're saying there, Brad.
Or even if they come in and say, "Hey, I need a wiper blade replaced," which obviously that's something we want to run out and do right now. We're not going to make them wait for that, but just to make sure that they know to not just expect us to just drop everything right in the middle of it, run out there and do the wiper blade. We need to finish our task to where we're at a safe quitting point before we move to another task, and then we can come back and we'll be able to finish both jobs in a very safe manner.
Great insight there. I love that answer. Jeff, we're going to you next. With all that experience, what would you say is something drivers might not understand about the shop side of things?
I'd say Brad hit it pretty good, I mean, sometimes we just can't stop and just run straight out.
Absolutely.
We got to go through the channels, we got to, instead of stopping what we're doing. So, and we work on everybody's stuff too, so sometimes we get busy.
Absolutely. And I can imagine it's easy for a driver to sort of be focused in on their own truck and keeping that thing safe. And it's sort of hard to understand that, hey, we've got a lot of trucks that are coming through here. So sometimes it's probably, It's not intentionally kind of self-centered, but it's like they have to be self-centered. They want to keep their truck safe, so they're worried about it at the top of their priority list all the time. But you guys have just a litany of priorities to get to, right?
Well, they always say it only takes a minute. An hour later, you're still working on it.
I get that, man. I get that. That's why my mechanic bill's so high on my Silverado. Every time he tells me 3 hours, it's 6. But I think you guys are better mechanics than they are for sure. So that's
Jeff's saying here, Marcus, is they ask for a wiper blade, and then once you get out there on their truck, they need this, that,
it's an overhaul
as well. The list keeps growing.
Right. It goes from a wiper blade to the top half of the engine needs to be replaced, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's only because we haven't looked at the bottom half of the engine yet. So, no. Look, our trucks here are maintained very well, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to get on with you guys. All jokes aside, you guys run a really tight ship out there, and the drivers, they comment on it when I'm talking to them. They're very happy with the way the trucks are maintained. They love the equipment, trailers as well. Let's go to Jeremy here for the answer to the same question. Jeremy, from your perspective out there in Saginaw, what's something you think the drivers might not fully realize about the shop side?
Honestly, the biggest thing is that they don't realize that not everything's going to happen like right then and there. Like, for instance, if they're having an AC problem or if they're having an exhaust leak, it could be something that's a bigger job that's going to take more than, an hour or 2 hours, especially, being here in Saginaw where we have to do everything pretty much either we have to have an outside vendor come and help, or if I've got to order a part, and the lead time is, a day or two, and they just feel like it has to be done like right then and there. And sometimes it's trying to get them to understand that it's not always going to be right then and there. And then just trying to get them to understand it and be calm about it.
Sure. Now, is that something that's sort of unique to the Saginaw terminal, or is that is that more than just the Saginaw terminal? Does that apply to all of them? And maybe, Jeremy, you could comment too, but Brad, I'll come to you on this after.
Oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
I think it's just something across the industry as a general idea, is that sometimes, like, for instance, if a truck loses a drive line, they may be out of that truck for, a week, maybe more, depending on how much damage was done. And then they keep coming back to you every day. When's my truck's going to be done? When's my truck going to be done? You have to explain to them, it's at the shop. This is the update. Once I have something new, then I'll tell you.
Copy. Brad, your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, he nailed it. And we all do it. I mean, we do it with our own cars, right? When you have a problem with your car and you take it to the dealership and you're like, why is it taking so long? My truck's at the dealer right now. I'm waiting on them to call and tell me when it's going to be fixed. You know what I mean? I want to call them up and say, where's my truck going to be done? But I do this job every day, so I don't call them. I just wait for them to call me. But he nailed it. It just looks easy. Everything looks easy. But yeah, and in Jeremy's case, where he is dealing with mainly outside repair facilities, so Jeremy's more of a maintenance coordinator more than a direct hands-on mechanic, even though he does some work. He does some of that too, but he does a lot more coordinating than he does mechanical stuff, I would say. And so he's at the mercy of all the outside vendors, repair facilities, and their parts people, right? So he's not always in charge of getting the parts. Sometimes he's relying on them to do that. So we have a little more control in our own shops when it comes to parts and scheduling, but jobs still take time. You know what I mean? Just because we have a truck that's broke and a mechanic that's there doesn't fix it. You got to still put the 4 hours in to do whatever the job is and to put it out there, we want to put out a product that drivers don't have to come back. That's our goal.
Sure.
It's always
absolutely.
It's impossible to attain that 100%. You know what I mean? But it's our goal when we send a truck out of here that doesn't have to come back. I mean, that's our goal.
Jeremy, you were going to jump in there?
Yeah, I was going to say, like this morning before I got on the phone call with you, I was over at our vendor shop putting a warranty landing leg on this morning, just trying to make sure that it got done, and then we didn't have to pay so much on the bill. So there are things that I can do, like simple stuff, but then like the bigger stuff, Brad's right, because we send it out to our vendor, and I do try to coordinate. That's one of my biggest things about here being in Saginaw and even the Sherman office is just trying to make sure we coordinate everything so I don't have, 3 trailers in the shop at one time.
Right. It's kind of just a numbers game there you're trying to play all the time, and the numbers are always fighting you to try to add up, aren't they?
Right. They always, if I don't get them add up, then I know I can expect a phone call from Brad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, that's great insight there. A little bit of a unique situation at the Saginaw terminal makes me curious about the Foster terminal. So let's bring in Junior Taylor here real quick. Junior, what's something drivers probably don't realize about the shop side of things from your perspective, my friend?
Pretty much the same thing what they said, and they expect stuff to be done right then. Never, doesn't always work that way. So, I mean, we got spare trucks, put them in, never really give them, you try to get it done as soon as possible, but it doesn't always work out that way.
For sure. Shawn,
for the most part, they're pretty good.
Okay. All right. Shawn, anything to add there since you're out there at Foster as well?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to kind of piggyback off of the other guys. I mean, the one small thing always turns into 3 things or 5, and they don't seem to have a lot of patience, they want their stuff done, and then they want it done in a timely manner. And most of the time we can get it done in that timely manner, but there's always that issue that comes along that we have to take them from their truck or take their trailer from them. And in a perfect world, everyone keeps their own truck and their own trailer.
But this world ain't perfect.
This world isn't perfect. We try the best that we can,
And then,
but yeah, I mean, for the most part of it, they don't have a lot of patience,
I hear it, man.
And they do like to talk.
Well, yeah, of course they do. That's why we got them a podcast, right?
They do. Like, yes,
Right.
these guys will follow you around the shop and everything just to try to have a full-on conversation with you.
Oh, it's
I try to
lonely
run them
out
out though.
there. Yeah, well, it's lonely out there on the road, fellas.
Right. John's the peacemaker. I'm the one that runs them off.
I try to
Okay.
listen to everything everyone has to say.
I mean, we got enough time in with each other. We know each other, what we need.
And
Well,
and all the
yeah.
drivers' defense here, everybody's impatient. They
Yep.
they want to get their
Everyone
and go
did.
home.
Yeah.
We
You know,
are.
they want,
Well, like
you know what I
Brad
mean?
said,
So we understand, but it doesn't make it any easier. So, but we totally understand it, and everyone's that way. So
For sure. Junior, go ahead. You were getting in there underneath Brad, and he kind of the way our recording works is he's going to kind of jump on you guys here. So I'll make sure and come back to you if I hear you jumping in. But please go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to stop him from doing that.
I'll tell you what. I'll put that on. I'm going to put that on Jeff today, since Jeff out seniorities him. Okay.
Yeah, you be nice to Jeff now. No, like if they come in just for like a break or something like that, while it's in here, you want to look over other stuff too. I mean, it's hard to catch these guys.
Sure.
Their clock's rolling. You know, they're gone most of the time. So when you can, even if you got to go out to like the fuel pump and look at their trailers or trucks, whenever you get a chance, just look them over.
Yes, sir. Now, first of all and foremost, that's great insight. I think the drivers can really learn something from all of these questions that we've got. And you guys just went through a bevy of things that you see every single day that maybe the drivers don't have the best frame of reference for. And that's why we're here today. This next one is very much the same. And Brad, I think this is going to be your favorite question that I ask all day. So I'm going to start here with you. What are the most common preventable issues rolling into the shop right now? Something that you guys are seeing a ton of that maybe the drivers can help out with preventing, or at least understand better why these things are going down. What are you seeing?
well, 100%. I think this will Foster may be the one exception because they don't drop and hook as much as most of our terminals, but it's definitely the most preventable damages that we see are mainly due to coupling and decoupling trailers, loaded trailers. So we do a lot of landing legs that are bent, and we do a lot of fifth wheel cushion rings. We also, if it gets really egregious, then we have to put a rear cross member in the truck.
Oh,
all these are preventable because we spec in all of our tractors, all of our equipment has a suspension dump valve. And if they would just take a little bit more time, be a little more patient, and properly use the dump valve, we prevent most landing gear problems and all cushion ring problems.
okay. Very straightforward there, Jeff. I'm coming to you next, man. Same thing, something different. Obviously, Brad's got a really good eye on it, but what are you seeing?
No, that's our biggest problem right there is a cushion ring and stuff like that, and the dolly legs.
And are any of those, can you maybe just give me a representation of how hard something like that is to fix, how long or how much time it's going to take? Being a preventable thing, that's obviously something we're looking at is, hey, if we're doing the job the best that we can, we're going to prevent some of this time. But Jeff, give me an idea. How much time does it take to repair a bent leg or any of the other things you brought up here?
Well, the legs might take some time, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It might take a few hours, but you know, the cushion, you can change that in 15 minutes, but it's the cost that goes with it, you know, for the part. I mean, it adds up. I mean, if you got to do it every 30 days, you know,
Sure.
I mean, that cushion ring ain't,
Interesting stuff there. And listen, that's one thing we want to bring into the conversation here is the cost of this. That's one of the things we're trying to cut down on, right? We could cut down on maintenance costs. Everybody's going to make more money. That's a rising tide lifts all ships thing. So Great stuff there. Jeremy, let's talk about Saginaw real quick. What's the most preventable issue that you see rolling into the shop out there? Is it the same thing?
A lot of it is the landing legs. I've tried to get these guys to understand that if you just take the time to gauge the height of the trailer before they try to hook up to it, then yeah, it would save a whole lot of time and problems. The only other really bad thing, and it's nothing that thankfully we haven't had any issues, but I've been working on trying to get these guys back in the habit of doing the basic thing of just putting their airlines away at the end of the day. And the reason I've been getting on them so hard about it is because we're in the rainy season down here in Texas right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if they keep leaving their stuff on the catwalk, well, water gets in the lines, and then that water can push through the air system. And the next thing I know, I could be out of an air tank, a whole airline, or I may end up having to replace a whole set of airlines and cables.
ABS valve,
yeah,
$500.
ABS valves, air dryers. It's just a lot of the simple stuff I'm trying to get my guys here back in the habit of. It's like, draining your air tanks, putting your airlines up, making sure that you have everything you need. But that and landing legs are one of our biggest things. And some of them is really preventable. There's sometimes where it's just completely driver error. I want to say, I think it was about a year ago, I had a guy completely fold a whole set of legs because he forgot to raise his landing legs up before he left.
Oh, no. That sounds like a big one. Now, it's funny. I can see Brad right now. He's on the screen. And, Brad, I will say you just about threw a muscle out in your neck, shaking your head that, yes, the same problems at Saginaw are the ones you're seeing at Plain City.
Yeah, I'm glad he brought up the airlines. I mean, that's something that we probably don't press enough around here, because that can be, you just don't want water in your air system, period. And
sure.
And it has become it's so much more critical to have a dry air system now than what it used to years ago. So, and it's always been kind of critical, but it's real critical now.
Sure. Jeremy, did you have anything to add there before I head down to the Foster terminal, fellas?
Other than that, I mean, it's just trying to get people back into the bare basic things that they should be doing as, a professional driver, and just making sure that they do it right. And then if they keep doing it, it becomes muscle memory, and then they don't have to worry about overthinking. Oh, did I put this? No, I know I put it up because I went through my steps before I walked off the yard.
For sure. Now, that's, developing good habits can really help the shop. That's something that I can tell you from just my experience in talking to drivers, dealing with other terminals. That's one thing the shop guys say. And we're going to get to a question about pre-trip inspections here in just a second. I think you guys are really going to love that one too. But first, I want to go down to the Foster terminal and talk to Junior and Shawn about the most common preventable issues that they're seeing at Foster. Is it the same as we've already been talking about, guys, or is there other stuff?
You want to go or me?
Well, I mean, yeah, it kind of is the same, but I think the biggest thing here would be tires. Like, I have changed so many tires down here that still have life left in them. A lot of guys don't seem to have the time to let their trailer fully air up. They are air ride trailers, most of them now. I think they're used to the spring ride trailers, so they don't let them air up properly, and then they will drag the tires off.
Interesting. Junior, what, from your perspective?
I would say cushions and, like Shawn said, tires. If they just took the time while they're getting fuel, kick their tires, it's gonna save on service calls. But I'd go, like, the cushions, I'd change a lot of those. Because every time, if a trailer's hooked to the truck, whenever I bring it in, I drop the trailer when I service. So I've been finding a lot of cushions.
Okay. Cushions and tires. And listen, we know tires aren't cheap, Brad. I don't know if you got a number off the top of your head there real quick for drive tires or steer tires, but not a cheap thing to have to put on.
No, they're not. They're way up there nowadays, yeah. I mean, you're 700 for a drive tire, a little bit under that. And then, the steers they're over 600 and the trailer tires are 400. So all tires are
Wow.
super expensive in this business. We don't run retreaded trailer tires due to the aluminum fenders that we have. We do run some retread drive tires. But for the most part, they're just expensive, And I think one thing I would like to interject here is virtually every item that we've touched on, and I'll touch on one more, for especially like the cement haulers, fly ash haulers, and lime haulers. If you wipe the top of your dome lid off and keep the buildup from building up on top of that lip, it helps our dome lid seals last a lot longer, and you'll have a lot fewer dome lid leaks.
Interesting.
Yep.
Aside from
Absolutely right.
aside from that, one of the things that I think every single item that we've hit on, as far as what we think can be preventable, are all preventable by taking just a little more time, because most everything here is caused by being in a hurry. Definitely the cushion rings, definitely the dolly legs, everything's. And again, we understand everybody wants to get home, everyone wants to spend his least, but one thing, what can you do to help yourself have a better day? And then I like to look at it sometimes as, what can I do to do my job better to make somebody else's job easier? And I think if everyone took that attitude, and I take that attitude, or try to, sometimes you get in bad attitudes, everybody does, but I try to look at it from that attitude. And I think the answer, when I ask myself that question, the answer is always yes. There's something I can do better that would make somebody else's job easier. And I think if everyone across the entire company looked at it kind of in that way, we would prevent some of these. We get sometimes a driver drop a trailer and didn't write up a bad product hose or a leaky product end, and then the next driver gets a hold of it and he's got a problem. So, what can I do better to help somebody else have a better day? And I think, that would help everything run smoother.
100%. 100%. It's got a big ripple effect when you just do one little thing that can make somebody else's day better, because then they're going to do one little thing, and just on and on and on down the line. Junior, I think I cut you off there a bit ago. Did you have anything else to add before we move on to the next question, you or Shawn?
Like Brad said, everybody wants to get home, but if they just took that 5 or 10 minutes here, wherever at the shop, it's better than 4 hours down the road waiting for somebody to come fix a tire or something.
For sure.
So therefore, you're way behind now.
Okay, I got it. Well, listen, fellas, far be it from me to not have a little bit of fun in here on the show. And I had an experience once. I was at a terminal. A driver had just dropped his truck off. The shop guys were in it, and they were cleaning it out because he was getting into a new truck. And out walks the tech with a industrial-sized tub of Vaseline. I'm talking 48 ounces. It was in the door panel, and when he saw it, he went and gloved up, and he grabbed a hold of it, and he came out looking at me like he'd seen a ghost. So he gloved up for sure. So I got to ask you guys, because you guys are constantly seeing it, and we'll leave names out of this. Don't tell me whose truck it was, but starting with you, Shawn, what is the strangest thing you've ever found in a truck that you were working on?
So, I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff in these trucks, yes, but I think the strangest thing that I've seen would be, by far, a guy had all of his lunch, it looked like maybe from weeks ago, that was stacked in the side of his truck on his seat, like instead of throwing it away. And at one point, at the same truck, there was a half-eaten bag of dog treats in there. Now, I hope that he was feeding this to someone's dog and not eating it himself.
Oh man, it is federal law that all dog food has to be human grade in the United States. So he could have been eating it.
Maybe he grabbed a quick snack himself. I don't know.
You never know. You never
know, man. You never know.
That's great. Junior, how about you, man?
Where do you want me to start?
At the best one.
Well, I was under somebody's bunk once. Had a whole pile of Playboys with a Bible on top.
Well, I mean, at least their priorities are straight. They had the Bible on top and not underneath, right?
Right.
Priorities straight.
Hey, like I said, gets lonely out there on the road, man. Gets lonely out there on the road.
Second, I would have to go in the fuse panel and found a bunch of, I don't even want to say it. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it.
You're allowed. We can edit.
Yeah, there you go. You just got clearance. We can always edit it out if it's too much, okay?
Condoms.
Okay, prophylactics.
Tea bottles, stuff like that.
I gotcha. Okay. We'll put that one in for review and see if it gets to stay in. But let's just say something that definitely shouldn't have been in the fuse panel. All right, that's what we can say was in there.
I mean, you asked, I delivered, man.
Absolutely, that's great. Well, see, I asked this question for a very specific reason, and that's why you can't guess what you're gonna find in these trucks sometimes.
You can't.
Jeremy, let's go to you out there at Saginaw, man. You found anything crazy in a truck you were working on out there in Texas?
Thankfully, the worst that I found in any of these trucks are I had one person that had a literal pyramid of piss bottles.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I'm not kidding. It was legitimately stacked in a nice, neat, organized pyramid.
Well, I hope that you've only had that happen once. I'll just put it like that, and we can move right past that one because I think we all know the lore that goes behind those things and truck driving, especially over-the-road truck driving. The rule is you don't touch any Gatorade that you find on the side of the road. That's just the rule on the highways and byways of America. Crazy stuff there. Anything else, Jeremy, that maybe surprised you a little bit?
Thankfully, I haven't seen anything wild. I've just mainly pee bottles and old. I did find there was one guy about 6 months ago. I did find like a full lunch bag from McDonald's, and it looked like it had been in there for like 3 weeks.
Oh wow!
And just he bought lunch and then forgot to eat it, and then just forgot that it was in the truck, and then just let it sit there and rot.
The nice thing about fast food is it can go 4 or 6 months before it even looks like it's rotting, right? It just stays the exact same. All right, Jeff, you got tons of experience, man. You've been doing this for a long time, 3 decades plus. I'm sure you've come across some questionable things. What stands out in your mind?
I mean, about the same as what they had, pee bottles and trash, That's about it.
Well, that's good. I mean,
I try not to go in there looking for it.
Right,
okay?
Right. And that is something we should establish is these guys aren't out there playing detective. It's just what they come across when they're going to make the fixes. Brad, I know you've been heading this up for a long time. Is there anything off the top of your head that you didn't just hear reference that you might want to bring up before we move to our next question?
If I thought really hard, Marcus, I could probably come with something off the wall, but I don't think we need to go there.
Okay, I like that. I see a little bit of being judicious here with our stories. That's always a good thing. So, all right, like I said, just a little bit of fun here to break things up. But the next question I have gets right back on the serious track here, and it's something that is so important throughout all lanes of trucking. It doesn't matter whether you're driving a box truck, a school bus, or whether you're hauling pneumatic or flatbed or any of the rest of it, and that is our pre-trip inspection. And I always want to ask mechanics and guys that work in the shop, Brad, I'll start here with you. If you could stand behind or beside every driver during a pre-trip tomorrow morning, what would you make sure they checked and double-checked and then checked in triplicate just to be sure?
We only ask them to, I know when they, you asked me a very simple question. I'm going to give you a long answer, and I make fun of people that usually do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. So, if you was to go to your driving school to get your CDL, the pre-trip that they want you to do in order to pass a CDL is much more in depth than what we're really asking our drivers to do. We want to make them responsible for basically two big items: tires, 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 lights, lights, lights. That's the two things: tires and lights.
Okay.
Obviously, if they notice the frame's broken half, we wouldn't want them taken off down the road. You know what I mean? But
Right.
we really don't. Their inspection, pre-trip inspections, what we really need them to catch is the things that can happen at any time, which is tires and lights. So I mean that's it. Tires and lights.
That's it. Tires and lights. I like it. You said it was a long drawn out answer, but I think just very simple. Tires and lights, and you said them both 3 times. So got it. All right, Jeff, how about you, man? Standing next to a driver, is it the same thing? Tires and lights?
Yeah, tire lights, and at least glance at your lug nuts. Make sure you ain't got none loose.
That's an easy one, right? That's real quick.
Especially, we run aluminum wheels. I mean, it's real easy to tell.
Okay. So along with tires, lug nuts, Jeremy, how about for you, man? You're standing next to me. I'm doing a pre-trip. What are you drilling down there in Saginaw?
Other than what's already been said is making sure that they open their hood and they check their fluid levels.
You see a lot of guys running out with low fluid or anything like that, or just maybe some maintenance issues that can be prevented if fluids don't get low?
It's mainly just making sure, because we've got a station where they can get coolant oil, but I know I've gotten onto a couple of guys because I'll see them doing their quote unquote pre-trip, but they won't open their hood, and I'll go over there and I'll be like, hey, what's your oil level at? Oh, I don't know. Okay, well, what's your transmission oil at? Well, I don't know. I was like, well, don't you think you ought to probably check those to make sure that you don't seize the damn engine, drive it down the road?
Good point, man. So we're checking dipsticks out there at Saginaw and very thoroughly, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Got it. How about down at Foster? Junior, go to you first. Other than tires, lights, checking our fluid levels, are you seeing anything that you would like the drivers to pre-trip a little better?
I mean, like they said, tires, lights, of course. I'm mainly trucks, but for example, like the lug nuts and stuff, I just happen to be pretty nosy down here. I am. I was walking out, parked a truck, and walked by this trailer. The whole axle's busted away from it, and the driver did not even know it. Getting ready to go get loaded, and that would, Brad can tell you that it would have been a long night.
I imagine so. Lots of phone calls to clean that one up.
And they would have been good phone calls.
Yeah, for sure.
Tires, lights, and the obvious.
Tires, lights, and the obvious. I like that. That's a good
one. The obvious, how the driver did not see. I mean, the wheels are, whatever, a foot up, foot out from the back axle. I don't know how it even went down the road.
Wow. That's amazing.
But it made it here, and we got her tagged out of service, and it'll be the next one to get in here and get fixed.
Gosh, how fortunate that you caught that, man. And that's one thing we want to draw attention to here is your mechanics they got a very keen eye for stuff like this, but that doesn't mean that drivers can't catch it first, right?
Correct.
Saving lives,
Shawn.
Marcus, saving lives. That's what I tell these guys out in the shop. They're saving lives when they do that stuff.
Absolutely. That could have been a catastrophic accident with an issue like that. Saving lives is a really good way to put it, and you guys do that work every single day of the week. Shawn, same question to you, man. Anything that stands out to you that you would be harping on as far as a pre-trip is concerned?
So yeah, like the other guys were saying, tires, lights, but a big thing that I've noticed is that their product hose, their unload hose. A lot of guys like to switch trailers and they take their hose with them and put them in the trailer that they switch to. Well, that leaves that trailer with an empty hose, and whenever they get to their customer, they can't unload because they don't have a hose they didn't check while they was at the shop.
So again, that sounds like one of those things in the obvious tunnel that Brad was talking about there. Yeah.
Right, just flip the hose tube door open, look up in there, pull it out, look,
So you're kind of getting to something here that came up as a pretty big theme when I was having lunch with the shop there in Plain City. Brad, I'll start with you here, but you said, I think, get out and look. Of course, goal. We all know that one. Get out and look is a lot faster than fixing something. And you kind of alluded to, Brad, how the get out and look can basically keep us from having a 20-minute repair turn into a 3-day problem. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, absolutely. I mean, if you get out and look, like I mean, the thing, it all goes back to what we've kind of been saying, is it just take the extra 5 minutes to make sure that that everything's going to go well. And again, getting out and look, it saves us time in the shop, but not necessarily the driver time. So I think this goes back to the earlier scenario of what can I do how can I do my job better to make somebody else's job easier? Get out and look's one of those things.
Absolutely. Well, fellas, this has all been great here. And the reason that you guys have listened to this show, or if you haven't, one thing that we do on every single interview is we clear some time for what we call final thoughts. And the reason that I'm stopping this a little bit short and I'm leaving a lot of time for our final thoughts today is because I think the final thoughts may vary and they might be a little bit long. So what we intend our final thoughts segment to be about is anything that we left on the table, anything I didn't ask you about or get to that you guys see that's something we can talk about here today shortly, that might save some time, some money, some effort, or even a life down the road. I want to make sure and talk about it. So the other thing you can do with your final thoughts segment, if you've covered everything you want to talk about here on the show today, you can give us any shout outs. Anybody that might be listening, the floor is yours. That's the point here. So I'm going to start from the Foster Terminal and move my way up the list here. Shawn Earlywine, thank you so much, man, for the time today. I know you guys are busy, all of you, and this is really cool that we get to spend 45, 50 minutes here with you chatting. Final thoughts from you, Shawn, from the Foster Terminal today before we let you go. Anything we left on the table here that you want to mention before you get out of here?
No, I don't think so. I think the main thing was like what Brad was hitting on there, just go. Just get out and look. That will save so much time for everyone.
Junior?
Pretty much all the same stuff. I mean, this is a great place to work, man. 18 years, close to home. Brad, his family, all good people. And about it, man.
Man, it's not the first time I've heard it on this show, and it definitely won't be the last. It
won't be. They're good people.
Yes, they are great people.
Shawn Earlywine and Junior Taylor from down there at Foster. You guys did awesome today. Stick with me for a second here as I go to Jeremy Hall out there in Saginaw. Jeremy, final thoughts. Anything we didn't get on the table today or any shout-outs or anything like that you want to give before I let you get back to it, my friend?
I think the biggest thing is, at least from what I see, is just the making sure that the drivers do the little things. It's always the small things, like it has been said earlier. It's the small things that will add up in the long run. That's why I take so much time trying to reinforce hey, make sure you're checking A, B, C, go by the book, just get back in the muscle memory of things that should have already been there. As far as a shout out, there's so many. We have quite a few vendors out here, but I do want to give a shout out to the shop up the street, Accelerated Tweet Services. Specifically Mike, the mechanic that's on our account. He does a really great job He's pretty much Johnny on the spot for when we need something done, especially if it's like, for example, we have 2 yard dogs here that are constantly running. So if one goes down and I'm off at a vendor picking up parts or I'm on a road call or whatever, I know I can call Mike and he'll come over here real quick and figure out what the problem is and get it back up and running. So we're not having to split 1 yard dog between, 2 positions here on the mill site.
Sure.
So they do a really good job for us, and I really appreciate everything that they do.
Well, that's a great shout out. And I can tell you this, I'm just watching Brad over here. He's nodding his head. I looked like he was at a metal concert for a second. I think he's in agreement with you about those things that you just said, Jeremy. And thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. You guys all have done such a good job here today. Jeff, I'm going to you for your final thoughts, my friend. Anything we left on the table you might want to talk about before we let you go?
No, not really.
Well,
Not that I can think of,
Hey, Jeff, man, we appreciate the time.
we can be here all day.
I won't keep you. I know you're a busy guy. We appreciate the time. Brad, on to you for your final thoughts here. You guys run such a tight ship out there. As I said earlier, the drivers talk about it. They like the equipment. They're really happy with the way you guys keep them safe there on the road. Final thoughts for you, Brad, or any shout outs that you might want to give before we let you get back to it.
Well, first of all, I wasn't agreeing with Jeremy. I was in here listening to AC/DC.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's what
There it is.
I mean, I guess ultimately what I want to shout out to a lot of our drivers. We got great drivers. We don't want to sound like we're sitting here having a gripe session. We have drivers that go beyond what we sometimes on and above what we ask, and sometimes we're in bad situations and we ask them to do things we know they don't want to do, and they buckle up and they do it. So
like coming on the podcast, right, Brad?
To all our hardworking drivers. They work hard, long hours. I mean, I think anyone that drives around the United States these days knows it's difficult. There's a lot of traffic in the world these days. It's different than what it was 25 years ago. I mean, there's just a lot of traffic and frustrating. I get frustrated sometimes driving from here to my house. So if I had to do it every day, I don't know. But so a shout out to the drivers. They do a great job. We don't want to sit here and pick and complain. That's really, if that's what it sounded like, that's not what our goal was. We want to have a scenario where it's better for everybody. If we can, make things a little bit better for everybody, that's where we want to get to. That's always our goal is to improve a little bit every day.
For sure. And sometimes you do have to ask people to do things they don't want to do, like coming on the podcast, right, Jeff?
That's right.
That's
right.
I owe all these guys, Marcus. All these guys are wanting. They got retribution. I got retributions to pay, or whatever. They've all sent text messages.
We'll get them back.
Saying I
At
owe
some
you.
point, there will be.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate the time. I know that this is way out of bounds for what you guys are doing on the daily, but you did great here, and I hope that maybe here in 6 months, 8 months, we can get another shop roundtable going and talk about the things that are going to arise as the winter months come in. I know that seasons are a big part of what you guys deal with there in the shop, so we'll get you back here again, but Brad DeWolf, Jeff Horsley, Jeremy Hall, Junior Taylor, and Shawn Earlywine, you guys knocked it out of the park today. Thank you all so much for joining us here on Always Pneumatic, Never Static. Have a great day. I normally tell the drivers be safe out there, but I'm going to tell you guys keep them safe out there, all right?
Thanks, Marcus.
All right,
Yes,
yeah,
mate,
thanks.
Thank you.
Huge thanks to Brad, Jeff, Jeremy, Junior, and Shawn. What a great episode that was. One thing about getting in a room with a bunch of guys from the shop is you're going to have some laughs. All you got to do is get them talking. I learned that when I was out at Plain City eating barbecue with all of the guys. What a fun group and what a talented group of techs that we've got here at Bulk and Spur. And there you heard it. They're letting you know some of the things that we're seeing at large here and some of the ways that you as drivers can help. And listen, I know that drivers greatly appreciate what the shop does. And if we can put a point on it real quick here, Brad did really sum it up very well. The guys at the shop are quite literally saving lives. We heard that story about the detached axle. That's really scary, and that can not only affect the driver in a very grave way if they were to get in an accident and get injured, but that could have affected the motoring public as well, which we all know we want to be safe out there first and foremost for ourselves, and so we can get home to our families, but we also want everybody else out there on the road to be safe and to get home to their families, and that is the core of what the shop is doing every day, day in and day out. All those hard hours, all those smashed fingers, all of those just engines that won't cooperate when you're in there wrenching on them. That's what they're trying to do, is save lives and make everybody safer out there. And I don't want to take anything away from that point, because I think it was the most poignant point that was made all day. Some of this stuff is little, but those of you that have blown a steer tire before or even blown a drive tire, you know, all of a sudden things get really, really hard to deal with really, really fast. And if we're just out there taking a little bit more time, we're getting out and looking, we're checking on things like tires, lights, and the obvious, air hoses, making sure we're putting those away, making sure that we don't take the hose with us and to a different trailer and leave one without it, or as long as we do that, making sure that we're checking that trailer as the other driver before to make sure you've got the right hose so you can get unloaded. So much good stuff. I would say take this one, listen to it, and in 2 weeks, go back and listen to it again to see if you're able to kind of see the difference that it makes when you just take a little bit more time and make sure that all the equipment is in ship shape. Because listen, if it's not, you just heard from 5 guys that will make sure, and they will bend over backwards to make sure that it is in ship shape ASAP. Fantastic stuff. Again, hats off to Brad, Jeff, Jeremy, Jr., and Shawn. I always enjoy my talks with the guys in the shop. You know, I worked in an auto shop for a while when I was in high school. I will be honest with you. I was the lowest man on the totem pole. I was the detail boy. But I was also the grunt that the mechanics asked to come over and help when they were pulling an engine out of an S10 or, pulling a transmission out of a Silverado. And let me tell you, those guys, skilled, talented beyond belief, and doing a job that I can't even scratch the surface of the knowledge base that you need to be able to fix these trucks. And the guys that I saw, they were fixing Chevys and GMCs, and it was still incredibly difficult and incredibly complicated. I can't imagine what it's like when you scale that truck up to the size of the trucks that we're driving here at Bulk and Spur. So I will never say no to another episode for a roundtable with the shop. That is so much fun for me every single time I get to do it. I will caution you. These guys are so busy, we probably won't get one for another 52 episodes. And if you're counting, that means next year. But that's okay. We will wait with bated breath for when we get the guys from the shop back on. They're out there doing the Lord's work, keeping everybody safe as best as they can. And I think as drivers, there's a way to help them out just a little bit by slowing down, checking for the obvious, kicking those tires when you're fueling up, and all the other great advice you heard from our shop techs today, and Brad as well. I want to thank you all for tuning in to our Roundtable with the Shop episode. As I said, one of my favorite episodes every single time we get to do it. I've got a soft spot for these guys in the shop. I feel like they are the offensive linemen of the trucking industry. They are the unsung heroes. Without them, we could not do the job safely or at all when you really think about it. So thanks for tuning in today. Remember that if you have any suggestions for something you'd like to hear on the show, or if you'd like to come on the show as a guest, please head on over to podcast.bulktransit.com and send me an email. Stay safe out there, Bulk and Spur. We'll be back next week with a brand new hour of content for you, 5 a.m. local time on Wednesday.
And that's all she blows for today's episode of Always Pneumatic, Never Static, your number one and probably only pneumatic trucking podcast, brought to you by Bulk Transit. Thanks for rolling with us today. Till next time, stay safe, keep those lines clear, and keep it pumping.